Hi guys, we're TriSAS. My name is Meet. This is Ran, and this is our team leader, Vincent. And we have one very simple question we want to ask, which is to optimize the go-to-market strategy in a very competitive market space, specifically in the mobile devices market space. So let's just get straight into it. So there are three components to a release strategy that we identified. The first being what specs would dominate the sentiment. Second being who are the target reviewers. And the third one is when exactly is the best time to release the product. Now we realized that the information in the data set was by no means comprehensive enough, and we didn't have the necessary market knowledge for us to be able to make a comprehensive sort of decision on what price point, for example, to recommend. So what instead we focused on was things that we did know, and providing a tool which allows you to explore different kinds of questions that you might have for the client who we are providing the solution to. So the tools that we used to create this analysis included Python, SAS EM, SAS EG, Jump Pro, and SAS PUA. Right, so this is like the rough, the overall sort of data preparation stage before we went into the dashboard. We started with some exploratory data analysis. We examined distributions. We dealt with missing values. We changed some of the categorical fields. We had to manipulate quite a bit of data. We won't bore you with the details of it, but ultimately we moved on to sentiment analysis, where we used Python, specifically called a library called TextBlob, which allowed us to do sentiment analysis not only to see just the positive and negative words, but also to factor in, for example, amplifiers or negators like very good or not good. And overall, that sentiment analysis obviously had some limitations in the sense that they didn't cater for sarcasm, neither did they do a very great job at dealing with typos, for example. So if a word wasn't recognized, that was probably left out of identification of the topic, but it was still pretty good in being able to assess the kind of sentiment on an aggregate level. Furthermore, we did topic extraction, where we identified a certain number of topics that came out of the analysis using SAS EM and specifically the text miner. Then after that, this is where we thought that analysis was crucial. We did some stratified sampling because we thought that it might be good for us to compare apples with apples and for us to compare, for example, tablets and phones, the same number of tablets and phones, and see so that we can make a comparison between the same number of, for example, reviews between tablets and phones and make a comparison between tablets and phones as a result. So that's the logical reason behind the kind of stratified sampling that we used. The data was obviously random values, so it was still pretty representative. And further on, we went into transforming the data for research questions, specifically in the form of the dominant topic extraction, which we further verified through the principal component analysis. And we in fact verified that all the topics that came out were in fact significantly adding to the information in the data set. And then we moved on to the SAS VA dashboard. So at the end of it, after we prepared the dashboard, so Brandon is going to go through all the three components that we identified and bring you the insights.
Alright, thank you, Steve. So if we put ourselves in the shoes of our clients, there are three fundamental questions that they might want to ask. First of all is what are the device specifications that we should bring on to our next product offering? To answer this question, right, we can possibly look at, firstly, the kind of specifications which mobile reviewers are satisfied and dissatisfied about. The kind of specifications for a particular model, which could be more popular than another, as well as whether there are any kind of trends related to the release of specifications over time. So this table highlights the top specifications in terms of topics, as well as the brands for both phones and tablets across the different sentiment categories. So you can see clearly here that screen, camera, and battery are the most relevant specifications to focus on for the next product release. Next up, we ask the question, who are the most suitable reviewers to employ as part of my test or marketing strategy? So what kind of reviewers are we looking at? Right, so one possible approach is to look at reviewers who show active engagement and interest in products that they review, and also who provide informative assessments of the product instead of a simple emotional rant about the product. So from our analysis, we identified the top 5 most most frequent reviewers in terms of the posting frequency, and also we identified the fact that they are actually more informative reviewers based on the fact that their average subjectivity score is pretty low. So from here, what there was on further analysis, we actually identified a kind of weird point, which is that not all the reviews from each of these mobile reviewers actually belong or originate from the users themselves, right? So this could point to the fact that these reviews actually belong to perhaps a discussion forum where the discussion forum was created by these reviewers, right? And while this might actually reduce the accuracy of the posting frequency, right, it also suggests that these reviewers are actually active contributors to an increased level of engagement and discussion of the products that they review in the market. So this might be a good thing. And one possible actionable to this is to engage these reviewers in conversations that might where we can gain insights on their opinions as well as the recommendations for the next product release. Moving on, okay, our last but not the least question, we would like to ask, when is the best time to release the new device in the market? Again, to answer this, okay, we have to look at several things. Observable trends in sentiment levels of the market, whether or not a particular type of product, be tablet or phone, is more popular in a particular phase, and whether there are actually big players who are dominating the market. So interestingly enough, we realized that May and November are the months where the big players, the big brands such as Samsung, LG, and Huawei and Apple, they dominate the market in terms of both the frequency of the reviews as well as the overall positive sentiment. So this could be a sign for smaller players, to not jump in, right, lest they become eaten or consumed by the bigger players. So in conclusion, by answering the what, the when, and who questions, we gain powerful insights that grant us competitive edge in our next release. So to better understand how the process and the methodology behind how we gain these insights, Vincent will now give us a demonstration using SAS BA.
Thank you, Renan. So my name is Vincent Tatan. I'm the leader of the TriSAS Team. And for now, we're going to talk about the TriSAS Team report. Alright. Yep. So before we move on to answering the question of the what, who, and when, we would like to invite the judges and you guys to stop us at any time, because SAS BA is an interactive dashboard. So stop us at any time, give us inputs, and we can do that directly straight away. Is that okay for you guys? Alright. So now we move on to answer the what questions. So what kind of specs that you would like to focus on? Alright, in this kind of thank you. So in this kind of what, right? What we want to answer is that what kind of specs that we could actually focus on, what kind of topics that there are, so that maybe for the next business release strategy, we can actually change our products, go to the specs, and actually certify the market. So first of all, what I would like to bring on is the product type. So make sure that, let's say I want to answer specifically for tablets, and the sentiment analysis. So as what Smith has mentioned, this sentiment analysis is basically something that's generated by textbook, which stands for NLP library, Natural Language Processing. So what it does is identify the subjectivity and quality. And based on the quality, we categorize them into neutral, very certified reviews, certified, and discertified reviews. So in this case, let's say that we want to talk about the positive specs for tablets. So everything is filled up, right? All filtered up. And then we want to find out the top topics for the positive specs of tablets. So let's see the top 3. Okay, so these top 3 involve battery and screens. So let's minimize. Okay, and then we cross-check it with the top topic strengths. So we can see that there's actually an increasing topics. So maybe in the following years, we can say that these are the directions that we would like to follow into. Right? And finally, we also want to cross-check it out with the brands that actually did a good job in the positive specs of tablets. And 3 of them is Huawei, Samsung, and Lenovo. So let's read on to Samsung. Alright? And then we improve on, we expand this information table. Alright. Okay, so basically, right, as what you can see, the bluer that it is, the more positive is the sentiment towards a certain model. And as what you can see, right, these are the models of the Samsung after drilling down. And let's say that we would like to focus on Samsung Galaxy here because it has the higher frequency count and also not so bad quality. Alright? And then just now we have identified in the topics that we like to follow is the device camera and screen. So maybe you can focus on this. So camera, and resolutions. So okay, 5MP, 720p, 190, 800, 1280 pixels. And then maybe we would like to cross-check why actually people feel a good sentiment towards it. So we can go through the body. As what you can see, there's a quality category here. So you can see here, remove all the unwanted wear, install Unify plus battery on live on my Note 8.0 is awesome. Therefore, very satisfied. The quality works. Alright? So basically we have identified the specs that we like to focus on. And you can repeat those with maybe different product types and also different kind of sentiments. Right? Alright, so now we are moving to who. Basically what we want to find out here, who are the reviewers that actually quite active in reviewing the products on a certain brand, and maybe so that we can approach them for focus group reviews, so that we can fix our brands for our next product release. Right? So the first thing we like to do is to make sure that the reviews are informational. So we filter it out. This is based on the text Python library. We don't want emotional reviews that actually spamming. We don't want subjective reviews that are spamming, but we want informational reviews. Therefore, we need to filter it out first. And also, we need to make sure that it's the latest reviews. And finally, we will also want to find out, maybe let's say that I want to find out the certified reviews users. So maybe I can do a quick drill down on the certified and very satisfied. Right? And then I can see here the top 3 is Microsoft, Apple, and Oppo. So maybe I can drill down on Apple. Right? And afterwards, I can find the top users that are most likely pleasant with Apple products. Let's do one more brand or one more company. Can I ask one of the judges to give us one big brand company that we can think of? Xiaomi? Okay, I think it's Xiaomi. Okay, so basically we have identified Xiaomi product, Xiaomi market here, the user and reviewers. And then maybe we can drill down this further. So as you can see, okay, these are a lot because there are a lot of types, and which is what we want to find out. But in this case, maybe we want to find out Sunil Shetty. Actually, what kind of behavior does he have? So we can drill down. Okay, so this is the reviewer behavior of Sunil Shetty. Yeah. So this is what the reviews that you can get from Sunil Shetty. Basically, is around certified, neutral to certified. So as you can see here, there's quality. And then you can also see that most of the comments that he has done is quite neutral. Okay. So that's all about how you can identify. So maybe you can get the users so that you can actually invite them for focus group. Right? So now moving on to the when. So again, the same thing. The when is that we want to find out the time of the month that we can actually review, and then we open it up so that maybe we can release our product so we can maximize our satisfaction reviews. So same thing, we need to make sure it's informational, and we need to make sure the sentiment analysis is satisfied. And then when you go to quick through, you can see here that at quick glance is around May and November. So we can drill down this further. And then as you can see here, device release trends is upward increasing, meaning there are more and more models coming in and pitching the products in May and November. And of course, this is based on the quality and logisticity, so most likely people are quite satisfied here. And then we can actually maybe drill down this large further and further. Alright, so you have May and November. Alright, so maybe I would like to drill down on November, see what kind of market it is. And it is quite tablet intensive market. It's around ratios 8 to 1. So maybe I can drill down further. And after that, I found out that it's actually dominated by Apples. And if you find out the dominant topics, right, it's actually more about iPad mini and iPad, Apple, Samsung. And then you can see that how is the review post trends after the 3 months, so that maybe you can drill down certain models and see how successful it is in the reviewer markets. And then you can find the dominant topics. with that, we would like to put an end to our presentation. So by knowing this, by knowing what, who and when, you can tell what specs that you need to focus on next business release strategy. You can focus on who to review or who to actually approach so that you can get better feedbacks, and finally when to release your business release so that you can actually maximize your reviews counts and satisfactions by riding on the competitions. That's all about our presentations. Thank you, and we'd like to open up for questions and answers.